Fun little fact, 3 of the movies that Bumblebee starred in were filmed in Detroit. Stalker is from Detroit, and I am from Detroit. Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence. Today we're going to take a look at the Bumblebee, All-Striker, Stalker, G.I. Joe, Transformer crossover that is a huge mouthful. That's right. Got this in. We're going to look at it. I'm not going to make you guys watch me transform it, because if you want to watch me transform that hiss, you know that it is awful. So anyway, before we get started, take a second. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that bell notification so you are notified in case we ever get any more of these crossovers and you like this review. So not only are we going to review this, I'm going to compare it to a vintage All-Striker, the re-release retro All-Striker, and my vintage Stalker, who has a little chomp out of his foot from my grandmother's dog Penny from so many years ago. So anyway, quickly, we'll take a look at the box here. I haven't opened it yet. I did cut the tape, and unfortunately, wasn't paying attention. You got to pull this off. This actually isn't tape. I cut the box, so can't really tell. I think the box is really nice. It looks cool. Not as cool as the Megatron Baroness, because that one just kind of popped. But here you are. They have it make it look like Stalker is in the window. Then you have the All-Striker. Then you have Bumblebee, and obviously you know Bumblebee is yellow. And I actually have a vintage style Bumblebee. We'll take a look at it. I don't think it looks anything like it, because that classic head is supposed to look like from the cartoon. Here on the top, you can see Stalker in the All-Striker. Then you can see Bumblebee transformed. Same with the side here. And then there is the back. You use this little X here. Again, really cool, nice idea. Let's see how it looks. Let's see how it compares. If you're going to want to team it up with your Megatron, maybe you love Bumblebee, maybe you love Stalker, maybe you love the All-Striker. Maybe you love hearing my dog pitter, patter, pitter, patter, pitter. Come here, buddy. Since you want to be on camera, come up here. Come on. Get on camera there. Look at him. Oh, look at that little doggy. Anyway, you don't really want to see my dog, although it's cuter than I am. So let's take a look at this. Alright, so in case you're wondering what it looks like, this is after you open up the sleeve. It gives you Hasbro, and on the back it says Top Secret. It opens up, and there you have your Stalker, which is going to have a nice packaging, so if you do keep him mint in that bubble, you won't have an issue there. And there's how Bumblebee is packaged. Seems like he's going to be a little bit easier to do than Megatron, but we'll find out real shortly. Alright, so here's a quick look at Stalker in the card. Again, it does say a real American hero. I was mistaken. I've also heard people correct me, thinking they were right. But on the Cobra stuff, it does not say a real American hero. It said Cobra the enemy. So it's something you kind of forget that you don't really think about when you're a kid. So here we have the old Hasbro logo, Stalker design. Again, no white border yet. If you want to, put them on a peg, there you have it. Obviously, they lost the rights to Stalker. That's why he is Alonzo Stalker Wilkinson. And classified, he is Sergeant Stalker. So one thing I said I really do like about this is you have this plastic shell inside, or plastic case inside the bubble, so the gun and the figure don't move around. Now, I don't think it needs to be this thick, but it is kind of cool this way. If you do want to display it, not an issue. On the back here, you have him in the All-Striker. I do believe that's pretty much the same picture as Crankcase, but they redid it with Stalker. And then here we have the jumbo file card with less writing than any file card has ever had, because 5 different languages, which, again, for the price we pay for this, I should be able to get a full file card. But what does it say? It says birthplace Detroit, Michigan. So I'm going to open them up. I'm not going to waste anyone's time as I do. As I mentioned, I do keep the back, so I want to take my time with it. Alright, so first look at Stalkers here. And this is my vintage with my dog bite foot. And as you can see, he's a little loose because, 40 years. And here's a new one. And looking on camera, or looking through the lens here, you can tell it's a little bit different. But in person, the new one is way, way lighter. The green is just it's a lighter green, although his skin complexion is much darker. So his beret is definitely a lighter green, where this is a much darker green. Look at the skin complexion, you can definitely see that it is darker. I will say this Stalker looks more like he's from Detroit, where this one looks more like he's from France. I always thought he looked French. Oops. So let's open them up. You always got to be careful when you're using stands with your original figures so you don't crack heels. So just kind of put them right there. Open these guys up. So here we're going to go. Here we have the grenades on both, and then the knife is on both. I've always thought that was a knife. Is that maybe something else? Oh, it's a pencil, I think. Not a pencil, guys. Here, if you know what it is, tell me. But, looking at this now, it looks like a pencil. Maybe it's a bungee spike. I don't know. This is me just talking. All right, so paint looks pretty good. Again, different colors. They seem to follow the camouflage pretty well to where it's in the same spots. As with all of these, this is more of a matte color, where the originals are way more glossy. On the back, he has the Y strap, as you can see. My original is a little worn. They both have the writing on their asses. Yes, they are an ass man, like Billy Gunn. So, that's the figure. I actually like the way this figure looks. Can't say that I've always thought all of them are better, but he definitely, I think, looks a little better. He does come with a stand. Then he comes with his submachine gun. So quickly, let's take a look here. Elbows are 90. Head moves back and forth. He gets a good 90-degree knee bend, which is how it should be. Almost a Jean-Claude Van Damme. He does feel loose. These ones always feel lighter than the original for some reason. Then we look at the submachine gun. You always got to be careful when you take anything out of the vintage hands. So this submachine gun is much softer, so you're not going to have to worry things breaking, but never really had too much of an issue with these breaking. It is a darker color. You can feel the difference right off the bat there. And notice I say off the bat an awful lot. But they recreate it pretty well. You can see where the safety trigger is supposed to be. I think I showed this on the classified. So it's all right there. I think they do a pretty good job of recreating all of these. Again, this is my vintage, so I'm very cautious about where I put his gun. It's actually loose in this hand. That's why I have it in the left hand right now. Just kind of slowly move it, and if any pressure, do not force it in an original O-ring. So, see if we look at the crotch here. When you look at the crotch, they talked about how they made these a little bit thicker so they don't break. He does have, so in here he has the H. This one here, he has the newer Hasbro logo. That was something I never realized. That was actually pointed out to me maybe the last couple years ago. So there is our Stalker. Not sure if that's the greatest review of trying to show you. But let's grab Bumblebee here, because I have him open. So here's Bumblebee. I haven't even looked at the instructions. His legs pop out. I guess I should probably raise this up. All right, so here's Bumblebee. His legs open. Looks like he has eyes on his legs. He does get a 90-degree elbow bend. Yes, technically that is a 90-degree knee bend, though he looks kind of weird like that. The seats are his feet, so that's pretty good. Makes it pretty wide, so you can get a nice stance on it. And then here's his gun, which looks very similar. Not similar, looks almost identical to the vintage one. Not the vintage All Striker cannon. Can we get this in his hand? All right. Screws in his hand, nice and easy, no problems there. Here's our original Bumblebee. Now you can see obviously he's green. They tried to put the yellows in it. Bumblebee's face is completely different than what we had in the cartoon. And I'll say looking at this Bumblebee, yeah, he looks awesome. Like he looks straight out of the cartoon. So I gotta say this, the Megatron head, the Bumblebee head both look really, really nice. Definitely impressed with that. So how do we transform this guy? I'm wondering if I should even try here. All right, you know what? He just opened up like this. I'm not going to make anyone watch this. Let me transform him, and then we'll be back. All right, so I'm back. You did not want to watch me transform this. I think this guy was actually harder than Megatron, who was a complete pain in my ass to transform. I swear there has to be a better way. When we were kids, the Transformers, they transformed very easily. This does not. So, first thing that you will notice is that this is a much different green, where the retro and the vintage, the green is much closer. They obviously make it a little bit different because they don't want people trying to swap parts. This one here is it's a different, it's probably more of an army green, to be honest. You will see that the headlights are different color. I really do like the blue. I think it pops. It actually stands out. It actually looks more like a face, to be honest. All right, so the Grow Guard here, which is the same, we'll just look at it against the retro. It is the same, but you can tell because this is a robot that it doesn't look as nice. That's for sure. There's no shocks on it. Oh, I got Duke here. Now, I had Duke here. I had to struggle to get Duke on this side, and I had Snake Eyes over here. Then I put Duke over here. He went on nice and easily. I struggled. I couldn't get Snake Eyes to go on here. So I'm assuming that something with this peg is just too big. I'm going to say this. Even though their holes on their feet are meant to work with vintage, I would not recommend putting any of the original O-ring figures on any of these because I think you will break the heels off, and we already know how difficult these figures are to still have. So let's take Stalker out of here. We don't need to see him anymore. So you got a bigger star. It says United States. I like the Tampo. I like the bigger star, to be honest. I've always hated that you could see the circle of the sticker there, but I do like the bigger star. This kind of reminds me of MASH. I like the dark black for the laser pointer. Now there is no, this thing. Ugh. I hate when I forget things in the middle. There is no hose, although there is a spot for the hose on both. And the steering wheel does move up, so when he's in robot mode, it can be moved, but I think it's really nice. It's easy to get the figure in. The seats here, which are his feet, are actually two-tone, so it's black here, silver. I do like the way that looks. If you can see inside there, now I don't think that I transformed this all the way up. I think I left this out. This thing was such a pain to transform. So, but the handle is there, so like the shifter is there. Looking at the guns here, they're definitely different, but the same. Now, they kind of left this open, and I don't know why, because on the vintage, this was not left open. But for some odd reason, they decided they were just going to leave it open. The middle of the cannon on this one, you can see where it kind of clips in. For this one, it's just all one solid piece. I do like the dark black wheels, look to be the same size, but they obviously made everything different, so you can't just swap parts and people not know. They had to add this here, obviously with being a transformer, there were things that had to be changed. And when you tilt it and you look at it, this grate here, you can see through. Where this one here is not see-through, it's actually solid. And they added a few other different things, I'm assuming more for texture with the Bumblebee. When you get to the back here, so you're going to look, the antennas are completely different, where the retro and the vintage are very much alike, although different colors. This one you cannot even come close to thinking that they're different or that they're the same. So he has no engine because his head actually hides underneath here. Here's the peg for where Stalker sits if you have him on the back of Bumblebee firing the cannon. I like how they put the Autobot symbol right here. There is no tow hook, so you don't have to worry about that. We put the yellow, obviously, to show that this is Bumblebee. You do have your exhaust. So I think they did a pretty good job of trying to make something that I just don't think works as well as they were hoping. This thing is on a hinge, which sits up here, because when he does transform, technically I can have Stalker on his back firing the cannon. Now they did put a hole here, which I would assume is for gas, but I don't know why they just got rid of that there, where the actual hole for the gas is supposed to be right there. So the exhaust sticks out. They probably should have like painted that black. That would have been kind of cool, just to kind of give you the aesthetic. Same with the back of the motor. Those are little things I wish they would have done. I do like there's no stickers, so they're all already put on. And see, this is proper. Oh, that's what it is. So they actually gave two of the exact same. Oh, yeah, so this is actually improper. The American flag, United States flag. So anyway, there it is. That's the comparison. There is no shocks like on here. There's a few little different details, but I think that's just to give a different aesthetic to the Bumblebee. I think same thing. I'm going to transform him. He's going to stay in robot mode. The truth is, I don't even want to think about transforming this. I have enough All Strikers. There's more than enough All Strikers that can be bought off eBay for cheaper. Have this guy in a robot mode to go with your G.I. Joe. So let's finish this. So here he is transformed. Here he is with Stalker on his back. He's kind of got the shoulder cannon. This is how he looks when he has the cage on it. I don't really like the cage. It's not bad, but here he is next to the other All Strikers. And so you're probably wondering, Megatron costs that much more. Well, what's the size difference? And there's the size difference. What more can I say? Megatron is that much bigger. So what will they do to have an Optimus Prime that's going to be the same size as Megatron? Because clearly Bumblebee is supposed to be smaller. So there is the difference. Here's the other thing that I did notice, and I'm going to see if we can get this. I do like this. Like I mentioned, I really like Bumblebee's face. I think it looks awesome. But he does have the, let's see if we can get it. There you go. Look at that. So if you hit the light the right way, it makes the eyes look like they're glowing. I think it looks really cool. So you can see that's the back of Bumblebee's head. But if you want to get his eyes to glow, you can do it. Megatron, no go. So there you go. Let's wrap this up. All right, so there you have it. That is the Bumblebee Stalker, All Striker, Transformer, G.I. Joe, crossover review. These are very difficult. I'm not a Transformer guy. I mean, I know enough about Transformers. I mean, I grew up on this stuff, but I don't have any Transformers. I will say this: I had Optimus Prime. Hell, I had Megatron that turned into a gun, and he wasn't half as hard to transform as any of these. Starscream. All those figures were not this difficult. You got to be a rocket scientist to do this. Anyone out there that got uh, Unicron and actually transform them, God bless you. I'm assuming there are probably still some people right now that have Unicron somewhere mixed between being a robot and a planet because they got fed up with it. My personal opinion. So I like the Stalker. They feel flimsy. I said this about all the figures. They don't feel as strong. Although they use different plastic and plastic that's supposed to last longer, they feel hollow. They just don't have the same. But I like his look. I like the darker complexion. I do kind of like the way Bumblebee looks. I think the face sculpts are absolutely wonderful. The head sculpt, whatever you want to call it, the robot sculpt. It doesn't look bad, though I'm sure they're going to be coming out with an Optimus Prime. I'm not really sure what you can do for an Optimus Prime. I'll mention this. Do I think these are worth it? I think they're they're way overpriced. I think all the O-ring stuff is way overpriced. I understand about inflation. I take the back. I don't think the retro stringer was overpriced. Matter of fact, I think that was a pretty damn good price. But these 2-packs, they seem to be overpriced. Are we even going to get any more? Who knows? I'm thinking that after that Sky Striker comes out, and this might be it. That they're going to focus on Classified, which, don't get me wrong, if you watch the channel, you know Classified is my baby now. But it's disappointing. It's kind of like, we waited 40 years to get an actual Transformer G.I. Joe crossover. And although they look decent, I don't really mind them in robot mode, either one. I actually think Megatron looks really nice. The transforming aspect is so god awful and just complex and hard, and all the kibble and the way you have to snap certain things in. It's frustrating. We're grown men, most of us. And if we bought these for our kids, which at this price, I don't think I'd be buying this for my kid to play with. You're gonna scream. I was screaming when I was like, my kids' Transformers up there. There's an Ironhide from the movie. It was awful. Same with Bumblebee. They were just awful to transform. I don't understand why they made it so damn difficult. They really don't need to look like Michael Bay did. Easy, simplex, that's all you need, because you're transforming a robot into a car and vice versa. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it. I can't honestly tell someone to go out and purchase this, although I will leave a link to Amazon. Again, I'm an Amazon affiliate, so if you order it, if you feel you need it, again, I think it's going to look good in my display. I don't have a problem with that. But I personally, if I wasn't doing reviews, I would wait. I have a feeling both Megatron and Bumblebee here are going to go on discount on Amazon. So I will drop a link to the Bumblebee on Amazon. Just keep watching. If you're following the channel, you're following my, my page here. If I see something like this that's on sale, I definitely drop it. So watch for that if you feel you need this, but you kind of want to wait till it goes down in price. I think it's going to happen. So I'm going to get out of here. I'll mention it one more time. Take a second. Hit the subscribe button. I had a hard time saying subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Again, always like any content of any of the content creators, because it tells YouTube, hey, you know what? People like this. People are watching this. The analytics are crazy. Don't get into YouTube, because you'll go down a road you're like, oh, man, this sucks. and hit the bell notification. So when there is an Optimus Prime that will probably drop sometime next year, I don't think we get much more O-ring. They just seem to be so distant from it. Although I will say this, other than this Megatron here, when I do an O-ring review, when I do a retro review like the 4-inch figure, those videos do very well and they continue to do well. Classified right now are doing real well for me, but for some odd reason, if you go and you look at my channel and you look at like the views, almost everything that was an O-ring or 4-inch figure did really, really well and still continues to get views. So I'm going to get out of here. The social media, as you know it, Punk with Toys on Instagram and Twitter. I will drop a link to Punks with Toys. So if you want to join the Facebook group page, you can be linked right to this video. So I will drop it there. Other than that, I'm going to get out of here. I think I've talked long enough. Have a wonderful night and happy toy hunting.